Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Talking Triathlon, a podcast where James, the sexiest voice in triathlon, Bale, talks about triathlon with me, regular Tim Ford. How you going, mate?
Regular tip.
Very underwhelming,
As
Tim
opposed,
Ford.
as opposed to the enhanced version or the discount budget version.
Funny you say enhanced, actually. So, God, we're straight off onto tangents, people. We're a triathlon podcast. I found out yesterday I've got to have surgery on I've had a sinus issue for like 2 months, and I got to go and get surgery at some point. But he gave me steroids. So I am the enhanced Tim Ford.
Are you on the
Okay.
like prednisolone
I have no
type?
idea. I got a little jar of them that I have to take two a day
Yeah,
for 10 days or something. But I'm
no,
like,
fair enough.
look out, I'm expecting to see my FTP increase and
Yeah,
suddenly
yeah,
I'll be running
yeah.
faster. And so I am
Getting
an
your hair
enhanced
in
Tim
weird
Ford at the
places
moment,
you
mate.
weren't expecting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look out, guys. I'm doping at the moment to clear
There
my
you go.
sinus and
There you go.
get those
TUE
performance.
required.
How you going, mate? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm good. I am accumulated fatigue has got me a little bit this week.
Yeah.
I'm not I've been to the 70.3 World Championships, mate, and I am tired and I didn't even race. Do you know what I mean? It's like I flew back on the Monday evening. So I had quite a relaxed day on Monday. I went and found a little plaza in our Old Town Marbella all to myself. Got a table, just sat and watched the world go by for a few hours, had a bit of food, drunk some fizzy water, etc., etc. Then got a taxi to the airport some Monday evening and I flew late. And my WhatsApp was full of messages from people saying, go early, queues are a nightmare, passport control's a nightmare. But by the time I got there in the evening, there was not a single queue. Breezed through passport control, got on the plane, but then our plane was slightly delayed, which meant I missed my train back that Monday night. So I had to stay in Bristol, the city I flew into for the evening, then travel back on the Tuesday morning. And then the Wednesday, I had to go to Birmingham for the day. So I just haven't really stopped. I haven't had a clear day yet, where I haven't had to go anywhere or do anything. And I feel like I'm a bit of a shell of myself at the moment.
Firstly, for people, I'm playing a little mini violin for James, a little
Yeah, yeah.
invisible violin for,
Oh, yeah, there isn't a single person in my life who gives a fuck. They don't.
for our
They don't think.
listeners.
No one. No one thinks. Oh God, that must have been a hard weekend in Marbella that
I
you
had to
had.
go to Marbella for a
Yeah, yeah.
triathlon. Yeah, poor mate.
No, no one. No one gives a. No one believes that you fly in up Friday night, get to your hotel at midnight, get up at 6 for the swim start, then have like a series of meetings, then rush to where your athletes are going to be, help them out, have more meetings, go out for dinner. The next day is just rinse and repeat. No one believes that's a hardship when you've gone to Marbella to do it and
I
you're
know,
putting
mate.
on social media that you're running down the boardwalk in the sun and you only show the good things that you do while you're out there. But it was a hell of a weekend.
No, we'll definitely talk about Marbella. I think it's.
How was you, mate?
I am, yeah, good. I realized talking to the weekends. So we get into the tail end of this season. Again, forward warning, next week I won't be on the show because I'm heading to Phuket for a week for work. But
Guest star on the show next week, mate.
yeah, I'll get replaced, which has been an upgrade, I think. We want to get Emil Holm, one of our patrons who raced world champs over the weekend, a crazy and incredible Danish athlete. We're going to do an episode with Emil, I think, before Christmas as well this year. But
I
looking at the
saw
way
him
my
after the race. We had a bit of a hug, had a chat, and he said, I'll catch you for some beers later. So I messaged him later, said, I'm just going out for some beers. And the fucker ghosted me. Fucking ghosted me. And then he messaged me last night, was like, yeah, sorry, I missed your message. So, oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course he did.
Oh, we'll go some for the podcast. But no, I'm a big fan of Emil. But no, speaking of the weekend away, I look at my calendar now, and I am almost away every weekend now until I take leave for Christmas. So it is going to be a bit of a hectic end to the year. I got two trips to Asia. I'm going to Phuket this weekend for a week for work. Then 2 weeks later, I'm back to Singapore for the marathon. And then it's basically one weekend in Christmas. So yeah, it's getting to that point of the year. You'd think that the racing has slowed down. It has not. But I want to start this episode before we'll get to the patrons. Patreon.com/, talking triathlon. We're doing bonus episodes to cover the Christmas break. We're going to take a month off. So if you sign up to Patreon over December, January, you get the weekly show that we release to cover the break. We've already had our patrons give us some suggested topics, some really good topics, I think. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I think we might even get a guest on. Joe wants to do an episode with me for one of the bonuses. So I said, yep, for sure. I mean, you can join too. We'll do a bonus with Joe. I'll give you permission to be
Yeah,
on your own
no.
podcast, James.
You
Um,
boys crack on.
uh, but I have a bone to pick.
with
I have to
me.
start, yeah, with you. I have to start this
Oh,
podcast.
what have I done?
Unfortunately, we're going to air some dirty laundry,
Oh
and this
yes,
is,
brilliant.
I
I've got
mean,
loads of that in my bag at the moment.
we've seen we've seen the podcasting world likes controversy, and there's a bit of controversy going on at the moment because there's a website in triathlon at the moment called Endurance Picks. They do a great fantasy league. You get to pick five athletes, uh, and we have a Talking Triathlon league. And one of the things that James loves to send me, only surprisingly when he's actually ahead of me. Often when I'm ahead of him, I don't get the messages, but I got a message from him this week or a few times this year where I just don't reply. I don't want to acknowledge it. I don't want to know about it. I'm very upset that Mr. Bale is currently ahead of me in the standings. We don't need to talk specifics, but I do want to talk about the fact that yesterday I reached out to him. As you know, James Bale is a very good friend of mine. I've known James for nigh on 10 years. We've been through some incredible highs, some incredible lows, and I messaged him. I said, mate, who have you picked? Who have you picked? I need to know who you picked. And the motherfucker wouldn't tell me. He won't tell me who he's picked.
There is a reason. There's a very good reason why I haven't. What we normally do is all of us, including the patrons, we screenshot our picks and drop them into the Patreon WhatsApp group so everybody can see, who's picked who, and then, it shakes out. But there's a very good reason I haven't dropped my screenshot into the Patreon group this week because I mean the season is coming to a close. There's two races that will count left, which is Dubai and Qatar. I'm in sixth, you're in seventh. The points are close, so I
Yeah, it's
can't I
close.
can't let you see who I've picked and then give you the opportunity to change one out in the hope that there'll be
That's
a.
what I'm trying. I'm just going to pick. I just want to pick different. I just want to pick different to make sure that there's a possibility. Give me some hints then.
It's a
Have you
very
made your
honestly,
picks?
this Dubai T100 race is a very difficult race to pick different because I was looking at it through the prism of right, Tim's going to be making selections here. One of us is going to come out on top. But there's most of them are no-brainers. It's just your wild card at the end to make up points that will create the difference. That's it.
That's what I've really because I've spent an alarming amount of time on the. I still haven't actually picked my picks. Like I've not picked five. I've not been able to. And the problem. So again, for people who haven't tried it, firstly, you've missed it. This it's great. It's actually been really fun because it gives you a budget, and it's I think if it's 200, each athlete has a value next to them. The problem with this race, and again we'll talk about it later, though, is the favorites are very expensive, and normally you get like for a few weeks Georgia Taylor Brown was like $1 every time she'd race. I was like fucking easy, easy. There's no super cheap picks, and the favorites are
No,
so
there's not.
expensive, which you cannot. I cannot work out how to actually structure it by having. I'm really looking at it going, I don't know how to fucking do this. I actually can't because I'm also then
Yeah,
going, well,
there
what's
aren't
James going to
even.
do? I need to do different to James. It's I'm really I'm probably going to end up forgetting the tips because I'm just like got analysis paralysis. Yeah,
Yeah, there aren't
it's
any really small numbers that you can fill gaps with. I managed to get my women's side down to where I had 30 points left, and I had 16 points left, and I had to pick two 7-point athletes to fill it. There you go. He's taking notes.
no, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you what my budgets because I can see
Oh,
what I've got
okay.
so far. Hang
But
on.
it is good fun. This endurance pick website is good fun because you don't pick a finishing order. You pick a selection of five athletes from the men's race and the women's race, and then the combination of finishing places for those athletes makes up your points. And it's really quite good fun.
So I've currently picked four females and one male, and I've got $104 left in my budget. But the problem you have is Hayden Wilde costs $30, a Marten Van Riel costs $29, Jonas Schomburg costs $28, Mika Newt costs 25, and then you go down the cheap ones. It's like it's an absolute punishment. And then I look at them one, and then I start to go, oh, okay, well Morgan Pearson's good value, but we've seen Morgan get, he's not really featured on the bike, but maybe because the field isn't so strong, and he didn't race 70 points. So I just sit and I go through these fucking cycles, but it's I've been going to all the T100 results to look at how people have been going against other people.
I
It's
often
horrible.
forget how much you enjoy this shit as a gamer. You know what I mean? I forget that you get quite invested in this. But yeah, the league's looking good. I mean, at the moment we've got two Brits in first and second, Andrew Phillips and David Norton.
I've had some
And
bad luck,
then
is what I'm going to claim. I've had some bad luck this year. Athletes pulling out
yeah,
last minute. You
who's
know,
last? Who's last in the league? We've got
Sean
30
Green.
people in the league.
Sean
Eh?
Green. Sean Green's last.
No,
Just
no.
assume.
Sean Green's 20. He's 20th at the moment.
Okay.
Last is Rachel Brown.
Not the
So
pro athlete, the pro duathlete.
pro duathlete, yeah, elite duathlete, I think is the term.
It's because she's got no swim knowledge. So she's good at knowing their bike and run, but she doesn't understand their swim power. Anyway, that's another perk of Patreon for next season. If people want to join, it's a good time. But yeah, I do hate that you're beating me and you won't share your tips with me. So
You
this is
were
war.
quite a way behind me. You've made some ground, and because you've got so close. But the funny thing is about these endurance picks, however long it's been going on for, me and you are always right next to each other.
It's because we actually
Come the
talk
end of
to
the
each
season.
other about this, so our picks are
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, probably.
Let's get into it this week, mate. Obviously, the place that we are going to start is 70.3 World Championships. Happened over the weekend in Marbella. You were a man on the ground. Let's start by talking about the on-ground, in-person experience. How was your time in Marbella?
Yeah, we've got two perspectives, haven't we? Because we've got my on the ground absorbing of the race and your broadcast perspective,
Oh.
which I think will dominate the conversation a bit later. I thought it was brilliant, mate, on the ground.
Mhm.
I thought Nice was brilliant when I was there. I obviously wasn't there this year, but I was there for the women's race, and I thought it was great. I thought the surroundings were great, the atmosphere was great, the town was great. Marbella was better. We weren't actually in Marbella, we're in Banús, which is just down the coast from Marbella, but a stone's throw, kind of like a 10 euro Uber journey or something. Um, and it was really nice. It was right on the beachfront. The expo was on the beachfront, so you could walk out of the expo just out to the sea. Um, Everything was really tightly compact and next to each other. There was no missioning about. You had T1, you had the swim start, you had the swim finish with just a stroll away from each other. It was sometimes quite difficult to get around because of the tightly compact nature of everything. You had to get into your head, right? I've got to go on that bridge over there. They put up temporary bridges all over the place. And you're like, right, that bridge takes me to that half of the course. That bridge will take me over there. But if I go over there, I can't get to that bit. So I have to go around here. And you had to kind of memorize that. But then I think to myself when I was there, at some point I was getting a bit frustrated. I was like, fuck hell, this is a bit frustrating getting around. Even with a media pass, where I could bypass a lot of it. But then you think, well, we often complain about soulless races in soulless places on straight roads, in industrial estates, massive car parks. I think if you want interesting races in interesting places, um, with a bit of being aesthetically pleasing, a bit of sort of interest and you know, where it's sort of bit cultural in different places, pretty, then you're gonna compromise a little bit. They're packing a lot into these intricate little towns that are by the coast in Spain. Europe. I mean, it's been there for a while, so got small streets and intricacies about it. So I think that's just comes with the territory. And I think the atmosphere was incredible. The first day I was there, it was the women's race. I saw them leave, come out of the sway. I didn't quite get. I was running a bit late, so I had to go and pick up my credentials because I was late in the night before. So as I was getting to the area, I heard them announcing the swim start. So then I went to. I just about got to the swim start, saw them swimming off. So then I missioned across the beach, round the back, and got to the T1 viewing area for the media people. Got in there and saw Lizzie and saw all the athletes come out. I saw every athlete come out of the swim and head off on the bike. Then I managed to go and obtain some coffee and have a few meetings, and then went to the run to watch them go past. We found a really good spot on the run, curve on the wall, a wall on the curve of the road with a couple of the patrons, and watched them go by. And then I went and saw the finish from behind the finish line, again in sort of athletes lounge media zone, which was good fun. Saw Lucy win it, and then all the athletes trickle in. We got to see Lizzie finish, and yeah, it was great fun. That first day was really, really quite special.
Mm. Yeah, I think from watching at least, I feel like this was a really great venue for a race. This to me is what I want to see. I guess a few points about the course itself and stuff. I feel like looking at the bike in particular, I expected this race to probably be similar in makeup to Nice. Big gaps. I couldn't have been more wrong. Like
Mm.
I especially in the men's race, but the fact that we saw such close racing on a very challenging course in a great location. Like from a broadcast point of view, I feel like it had okay. The bike course didn't always look it looked like you're just riding through the Spanish hills, which I don't have a problem with because at least the racing was good. But once they were in town on the run, man, it looked good. And you want to talk about like I often say that I think that one of the struggles with triathlon broadcasting is like that you don't have the crowds, you don't have that it doesn't look like a real race. It looks like we talk about the French Riviera T100 race where they're running around a field with witches hats and there's no one there. Doesn't it's hard to get excited about a race that doesn't look like there's anything actually happening. This race, mate, on the run course, it was very what I always say things I like. There's landmarks that are obvious, so you know where they are. It was very easy to tell where the athletes were on this course as they were racing. After watching the women's race, by the time the men's race happened on the Sunday, I knew the landmarks. I knew that thing, the bridge they had to go over. I knew where they were on the hill. I knew where that hill was coming. I knew the point that Cat had pulled out. We'll talk about. They go to the town. They go out on the beachfront. Like you could very easily guess or understand the race based on landmarks, and the crowds looked absolutely
The
pumping.
crowds were amazing, mate.
Yeah.
They were lining that run course all the way around. And like you say about the bike, because I thought it was going to be very Nice-like on the bike, but a lot of the athletes I spoke to when I got there, and I was asking them, "What's the bike course like? If you tried the bicycle, you obviously ridden it this week. What's it like? And then is it like Nice?" Because I was expecting yes to be the answer, and everybody was saying no. It's nothing like Nice. There are some technical bits, but it's predominantly sort of straight lines and going downhill fast and being on what is essentially bigger highways than Nice, which kind of disappears into the hills and is on smaller roads. So it's a lot less intricate than Nice, I'm told. I didn't see much of the bike course because I didn't get out on it. I wasn't watching the broadcast while they were, I mean, I was kind of watching the broadcast, but also having coffee with people and talking to people. And when they were on the bike, I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't see it. But yeah, I'm told it was very different to the Nice experience.
this is what this is what triathlon needs, I think, to be successful. It's to find the smaller okay, I think for me, the fact that it's in Marbella or not doesn't really move the needle for me. I wouldn't have been more interested in the race if it was in Marbella or Pontevedra or Girona. Like, yeah, okay, it's a European race, great, coastal, excellent. But you have this small town that becomes this hub, and I think that adds such a. And from what you're saying, it sounds like the town was quite behind it as well. Like it sounded like it was quite a positive experience being there.
Oh yeah.
These compact courses, I think, are, and it's Nice as well. I mean, I absolutely love being in Nice this year for the race, and particularly down the end, closer to where the finish was. But man, there was so many people, and it was so compact, and there was so much happening. You really do feel the atmosphere, I genuinely feel
Yeah.
like a better in-person experience leads to a better broad. Same in Wollongong this year when I was there.
But even this wasn't that the run was only 2 laps, you know. It's
Mm.
not like it was just really well laid out that
But
it
I mean,
took you through.
it looked narrow, right? Like it wasn't like they were on
Yeah.
a big wide thing. It was like quite
Yeah, yeah.
compact.
Yeah,
So
like
you
you think about the
create
run in
that
Nice, which is down
plus the
that
lot
main
on glass.
yeah, the Plaston or yeah, the whatever it's called. Anyway, I can't remember it.
I just said it
That's
in my
quite a
perfect
wide
French.
road. I know they're quite a wide road, and they're trotting up and down it. This was more intricate than that. You know,
Mm.
you're like
A
you
lot of
say,
that
you're going over
180s.
bridges, under bridges, doing that 180 out on the coast. It was stunning, and I really liked as well what they did at the end when they were doing the podium
Oh,
shot.
we don't talk about the
They
end.
they barriered off the because the podium was here. Great
Looking
podcasting,
at
isn't it?
the beach behind you,
Yeah,
the water behind you.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
beach behind you,
To the
but they
right,
barriered it
if
off
you cross
people,
the
so
finish
no
line, it was
one
on the
could.
left.
Yeah, no one could walk behind the podium just for that quick shot when they were on the podium. So you got that picture of them with the clear beach and sea behind them, and I
Mm.
thought that was really cool.
No, again, I think this was a really great venue. For me, it had it all. I like the fact that it was a challenging bike course. I think that I like the fact it was a kind of technical run, had a bit of everything, and all that's left to do, I guess, is talk about the actual race. And let's start with the women's race. We will talk
Yeah,
about the
yeah, yeah.
broadcast. Don't worry. Don't worry. We will
Yeah, no,
definitely
another
talk.
thing about the on the ground before we get into the race was that
Yeah,
Paul Kay and Joanne Murphy did an amazing job
yeah.
of hyping up the crowd and not in a hyping for the sake of hyping. They were giving accurate and detailed information to the crowd of what was happening, whilst also creating that hype. And I thought it was really, really high quality on the ground MCing.
should I talk about the broadcast now then, or should we talk about it later?
I think it might be a good idea to go through that before we get on to
Okay.
the race itself. How
Um,
was the broadcast, mate? Because I wasn't watching. All I know is that I watched the end of the men's race because I was out on the course because I didn't want to be hidden away behind the finish line in the media zone because I would have missed most of the racing. So I stayed out on the course until Andy had finished when I went in to find him. And I saw the end of the men's race go past me, which we'll talk about in detail in a minute. Watched the men's race finish and thought, fuck me, that was the most amazing finish I've seen to a 70.3 Worlds ever. Ironman have been handed like this race on a plate. They must have nailed that. And I went to the Patreon group and everyone was moaning about how shit what they'd just seen was. So
yeah.
take it away.
I feel like there's a few things that we've fairly considered. Again, I know some people get sick of us talking about this, but I say this because I want to hold them to account. And based on feedback and things we've heard about conversations that have been had with the Ironman people, they believe they're doing a relatively good job of the broadcast. And I think they're getting there. But this to me felt like a huge step backwards. I feel like we've been making this progress, and then this race happened, and it was just, yeah, a massive step backwards. Now, to the men's race in particular, I'm sure everybody knows that for the last mile of the men's race, they had technical problems and couldn't actually show what was really happening. Uh, Absolute disaster. I was literally screaming at my television. You could hear, I think Sam Laidlow on the broadcast. He was part of the commentary team. Excellent, by the way. Being like, "Hey, it wouldn't be bad if we could see the front of the race." To me, the biggest problem we have with this race, this broadcast, and I really strive doing this show to never be cruel. I don't want to make this personal. I'm just trying to be an objective viewer. The commentary team is unacceptable. Like the actual commentators that I'm in having doing this job is not at a standard acceptable for broadcasting a world championship race. Michael Lovato, I'm sure, is a very lovely man, is possibly the most boring and disinterested commentator I've heard ever. If people want to get an idea of what I'm talking about, watch the clip of Lucy Charles winning the 70.3 World Championships and listen to the way he does it. The men's race, the thing that I also struggle with is the fact that he doesn't even acknowledge the technical problems they're having. They start talking about a fucking hotel. And then same thing, you've got this incredible sprint finish and it is just so vanilla. There's no excitement, there's no emotion. Like it's honestly the getting names wrong of athletes, the not understanding what is happening on the screen, it just honestly, and again, I understand that I come from a position that is slightly different. I'm very close with Belinda Granger and Will McCloy, and I talk about them a lot. And you can say I'm not, I genuinely am trying not to be biased here. I see the effort that they put in. I saw the effort that both of them put in to preparing for the Wollongong Grand Final. Like genuinely, pages and pages. I see the way Belinda. Anytime I'm with Belinda before race, she is studying like your university exams. Like she works so hard to make sure she knows every athlete's name. She knows details about them. She knows their results. It honestly feels like the Ironman people, not all of them, but some of them wake up out of bed, go, oh, there's a race this today. What's happening? Oh, that athlete, Sylvie, whatever her name is doing like it
Yeah, I mean,
ruins
it
it for
doesn't
me.
even need to be people you know. I don't know whether you saw the conversation we had in the Patreon group earlier before you were asleep today, talking about different commentators and different and how you can make or break a race with that level of enthusiasm. And I think Tom Epton referenced Rob Hatch, so I dropped in some clips of
Yeah, I
Rob
saw
Hatch
them.
at his best. And there, it's just amazing how it brings the race to life when you've got that mixture of knowledge, preparation, and genuine enthusiasm and love for what you're doing.
Mm.
Combine all that, and you get an excellent moment happening with an excellent commentary on top of it. Um, and I haven't seen the end of the women's race. I haven't seen the women's broadcast. I will probably watch elements of it or a highlight package at some point. Yeah, I'll defer to you on Lucy Charles finishing. I can't add to that because I haven't seen it.
It's literally just
Um,
like, and here's your 70.3 world champion, Lucy Charles-Barclay. Like
yeah.
that's honestly what it was.
Well, I have watched the end of the men's race, the broadcast at the end of the men's race. Now, there are other issues with the end of the men's race in the fact that you didn't really get to see much of it because it kept cutting away
Sounds like
to
technical
this.
problems, I think, is what they've come out and said that was. So I'm, yeah, anyway, keep talking.
So fine, technical problems, whatever. It's not ideal cutting away from what is possibly the greatest sprint finish we've ever seen in a 70.3 World Championships. That's a dramatically annoying fuck up for them if that is a technical problem. But the commentary on top of it. Now, I understand that in a commentary box, you've got your lead commentator who, when it comes to the very end of something, will will take priority over your commentators, your sort of uh, additional people who are there to provide context. Like, so Sam Laidlow, he's probably told, right, in that last bit, you don't speak at this point because Lovato's got it. And it's just unreal the level of the lack of enthusiasm he has. Now,
You,
I
you know,
would do a better job.
mate,
It's like he
it's
wasn't excited. I don't know whether you saw my comment in the WhatsApp group today, but you know when you can tell the difference, subconsciously you can tell the difference between someone who's watching something live and someone who's watching a pre-recorded thing and pretending to do commentary on top of it.
yeah, yeah.
Because you can just tell that it's not quite as in the moment. What he was doing in that moment sounded like he was he was commentating over something he already knew the result from and was trying to sort of sound like it was a live broadcast. It's unreal, man. Unreal.
One of the things I've said a lot, and again, I love Craig Alexander. Crowie, I actually like, I get along very well with him. I think he's a champion. I've said in the past I find Crowie quite boring on some broadcasts. He's definitely improved. I think obviously Crowie, you listen, you've taken the feedback on board. But even Crowie at 11 out of 10 is still not like what we're talking about. Him on that broadcast, he was the most energetic thing about it when he was on. And that's when I'm going, fucking hell. Like it was
And it's
just
not just the duration of the race.
no.
Like someone said earlier, Rob Hatch can provide amazing, inspirational, engaging commentary for a 90-kilometer solo attack by Mathieu van der Poel. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the duration of the race. There's something about it that is just
The
bland.
the the other things that we've seen as well that I think is like Kat Matthews when she had the cramp, which we'll talk about, they cut to an ad while that's happening. You're like, for fuck's sake. And then you've got the moments on the bike where there's moves happening and they've got like this. I think Jelle Geens made an attack on the bike or something happened on the bike. I can't remember. And it's like on the second screen. And I'm like, I understand they clearly have like a. I think we were it's like every 10 minutes they have to show a certain number of ads, but they need to build in the flexibility to be able to actually allow if something is happening on the screen that is exciting not to cut to a fucking 57,000th time I've seen the goddamn ad for Roka wetsuits or
Yeah.
fucking Hoka, whatever, or the Nirvana weird musical thing. Like it's just this obsession with the ad thing. I understand, but fuck, there has to be a better way of doing it because
There has to be a better way of doing it. These ads, like, I don't know. I've said again, another thing I said in the WhatsApp group today was that I understand there is a difference between how British people expect to consume live sport and how American commentators commentate on live sport. There's a gap. We're definitely not used to this level of adverts. We do
no.
not get that many adverts on British TV. It's just not the case. Every 10 fucking minutes, are you taking the piss? You're driving me away from your brands.
Dear Iron Man, listen to me now, okay? Listen to me. This is me, Scott Daru. I've never met you. I've never spoken a word to you. If you're listening, or Iron Man people who I know listen to this stuff, give me the option of paying some money to watch an ad-free fucking
Oh
feed.
fuck yeah, I'll pay you
I
£100 a year if I
cannot,
don't have to watch an
I
ad free if I
cannot
can watch
handle
an ad
this
free.
anymore. It's and you know what? Even if it's fucking silent during that point, I don't care. I can't. It is just it's so frustrating and I get more frustrated every time. Look,
And there
we need
has
to
to
move
be
on.
some flexibility. You're
Yeah.
comment
Yeah,
you're you're
100%.
you're providing a live broadcast. When something key is happening, you must be some flexibility built into your schedule because the amount of cutting away to things was just diabolical.
And again, you're right. The technical problem at the end, it is still to me the biggest fuck up this year. It's as bad as the lights out in Miami for T100 last year, because they've now since, and I think they've done like, credit to them. They've put this up and been like, "Yep, sorry, there was a technical." It's watching it, obviously after the fact was so good, and I actually feel more annoyed after the fact because we didn't get to see it Like, honestly, you're watching it and they get off the beachfront and you've got Casper running the other way screaming at Kristian. They're shoulder to shoulder. Kristian move to the front. They go around. Suddenly it's fucking vanished. You're not seeing anything. You see them run up a little bit, do a one turn, vanishes again. And then the next thing you see is them running together, argy bargy. And then it's this weird, low pixelated shit. It was a fucking disaster. And yeah, look, I can understand the
That
technical
that
challenges,
that
whatever, but
that video that Precision Hydration then released was fucking incredible.
I haven't seen it.
Well, that was the yeah, you have because you commented on it. Someone put it in the group.
Because
It was the one
that
where
was the
it
Iron
was
put it on.
following.
Iron put that. That's an Iron Man video. Iron Man have put that
Yeah,
up.
but I think Precision Hydration were part
I
of
don't know.
filming it, weren't they?
I don't know. I have
I
no
don't know.
idea.
I don't fucking
But
know.
yeah.
Anyway,
But
it was incredible.
yeah.
If they'd managed to get that in the live broadcast, how good would that have been?
Yeah, I know. I know. Anyway, look, we've talked about this for 10 minutes and people get the shits. So we need to actually talk about the racing. Let's talk about the women's race. 70.3 World Champions women's event. What are your thoughts? Lucy Charles, incredible winner. Thoughts to the race?
Yeah, obviously I picked Taylor Knibb for the win, so that's didn't do my fantasy picks any favors. But second place for Taylor. Great to see those two bounce off that Kona, get the recovery they need, come into this race, and both of them, even though Taylor didn't win, Lucy did. I consider this absolute redemption for both of them after
Yeah.
that race, and um, a demonstration that they're both fine after what
Yeah.
happened to them in Kona, and a real a great thing for the sport that they can then come and have a performance like this and underline how great they both are at what they do.
Mate, I honestly had question marks about them both going to this race. I think a lot of people did saying, where are they going to be at? I think it became very apparent very quickly to me that this was a two-person race. Like, I feel like Lucy absolutely. So again, Lucy drilled the swim, got out with a gap. Taylor rides up to her. You sort of expect Taylor Knibb to ride away from Lucy Charles on the bike. She doesn't. Lucy sticks with her. They get off. They run shoulder. I thought Taylor Knibb, her run seems to have actually elevated a bit this year. Held Lucy for a while, and then Lucy put in a dig, and it was game over Red River. Like, it was very much to me a tale of two athletes, two and a half athletes, I guess we'll say. I'm so happy that this happened for Lucy and for Taylor after what happened in Kona, because it
Yeah.
kind of felt like this is the Kona we missed out on, and I feel like this is how I expected the Kona race to go, and it kind of would have been where Lucy runs up to Taylor. Taylor falls back, sticks with Lucy for a bit. Then I expected Lucy to run away, win Kona. She didn't, as we saw. So this to me was like a bit of, okay, everything's right with the world again. And personally, one of the things I've loved the most after the race scene is they've done the photo of Reese and Lucy, where Reese has pulled her off the course in the energy lab. And then they've got the photo of Reese and Lucy at the finish line of the 70.3 watts to sort of contrast the joy and sorrow of that moment, but both being like beautiful in their own way. Yeah, brilliant. I'm so happy Lucy won this race. I actually can't remember if I picked Lucy or Taylor for the win, but I'm pretty confident it would have been one of those two for me. Question mark in their recovery. Cat Matthews. Cat Matthews coming to this, leading the pro series. I know that we discussed this too. I think I was saying last week, what had Kona done to her? Because I think of everybody in that race, she actually had to run the 42K and she dug so deep at the end to try to catch up to Solvay for the win. There was a question mark over it for me. You never like to see an athlete pull up with an injury, but I know that for me at least, watching Kat and seeing the way she went out, because what was it, 3 minutes roughly off the bike, I thought there's no universe in which Kat Matthews will. Yes, I could see her maybe running that into Taylor Knibb. I think the gap was bigger in Topol last year, but the way Lucy Charles has been running this year, I did not think that she would be able to run Lucy down. And then next minute, she's running fucking like the absolute, like a woman possessed. I think she took a minute out of them in the first couple of K or something. Like, it was crazy. And genuinely, and this isn't me, like, obviously hindsight's easy, but I remember thinking this, like, I can't see that, like, something has to be going on here. And I know they cut to her, and suddenly I thought her face, she didn't look like, there was a shot of her. She looked incredible down when they're on the waterfront. Then a couple of minutes later, they cut her up on that back section, and I thought she doesn't look comfortable. And then next minute, face bang, she stops, bang, and it's game over for Kat Matthews really. And that was to me horrific. Like it was a big, terrible moment of the race, and I do sort of wonder what we would have seen, but I still don't think she probably would have caught Lucy. I just think Lucy was on another level on Saturday.
Yeah. Um, she certainly what she did in Kona proved how fast she can run
Yeah.
in relative to others in whatever race you're in.
Hmm.
She's moving faster than every other fucker. And she started going. Now, I was only seeing her once on the course, I think, as she went by. So I wasn't watching the broadcast at this point because I was on the run course, was cheering the athletes as they go by. Um, and then I saw your message saying, check the broadcast. I think Kat's pulling out because you like to keep me abreast of what's happening in the race. Wider than where I was on the race course, which was appreciated. So I checked the broadcast at that point, and then I saw her pulling out, and it's just such a shame um, because I'd love to have seen that play out to its conclusion. Whether she could have run, how quickly she could have run, what time she could have run into Lucy. Like you say, I think yes, catching Taylor was on the cards, but the way she went at that run, if that was maintainable, she certainly could have been a threat to Lucy for the win. And I really would have liked to have seen that come to its conclusion without somebody pulling up injured, because you never want to see somebody injured, and you don't want to see someone who's had the season that she's had, the run she had in Kona, finish this race with an injury. I had a chat with her on the Sunday night, and she was bouncing back from it, but and she still won the Pro Series, which is a great achievement in itself. But yeah, not a nice way to see somebody end their season.
I think because I have heard a lot of people like, would she have caught it? And I think the reason I'm saying I don't think she would have is, Lucy ran a 1:17. I think the gap was 4 minutes roughly. Let's just to keep it simple, 4 minutes. I don't see Kat Matthews running a 1:13 half marathon. I just if she does, that's fucking like if there's an athlete who could, I could definitely see her in the conversation. But I just feel like, Taylor was 1:20, so she wouldn't have to run 1:17, which she definitely could have. I could have seen her running through a second. Um, yeah, the Pro Series, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the full podium, mate, Lucy Charles-Barclay first place, Taylor Knibb second place, Tanya Newbert from Germany, great performance from Tanya, like real breakthrough performance in third place. Fourth place, Georgia Taylor Brown. I think I heard from Georgia's manager Tom this week. She had a really bad swim and bike and ran herself in a fourth. Georgia is getting stronger every time she lines up at one of these events. I genuinely feel like we could see Georgia win one of these events in the next couple of years if that's what she wants to do. Fifth place, Marjolaine Pierre. Sixth place, Solveig Lovseth. Seventh place, Jess Limot. Great performance from Jess. Really like to see her impact in the race and then holding on. She ran a 1:25, so she's significantly slower than the rest. But I think managing that niggle to still hold on for a top 10 is great. Eighth place, Lizzie Rayner. Ninth place, Hannah Devet. And 10th place, Ellie Salthouse. Great top 10. Great top 10.
Great
Some
top
really
10.
fantastic performances.
Yeah, absolutely. Really is. Great to see Jess doing so well. Solveig, amazing. Ironman world champion. Marjolaine Pierre, after the season she's had, it's great to see her strong top five. Georgia Taylor Brown, like you say, she's going up through the gears and improving all the time. I was behind the finish line in the media zone when Lucy finished. I stayed there pretty much until the top 10 finished. So I remember seeing Ellie walk past me. But yeah, I've got to mention Lizzie's performance. I I got to mention Lizzie's performance because what a day she had. Top eight, eighth place in the world. We knew that she had it in her,
Great run
and
from Lizzie, I think. Really
yeah,
great
and
run
that
from Lizzie.
that was it. I mean, she said she didn't have the bike that she wanted. She felt like she was underpowered on the bike, and she thought at that point that maybe she wasn't going to have the day that she wanted, but to be able to suffer like that on the bike and then finish it off with a really strong run, just demonstrating and underlining how much of a rounded athlete she is, like the complete triathlete at the moment, with more to come going up through the gears. And then watching her cross the finish line, I was standing with her mum and Mark, her coach. She comes over, gives her mum a hug. Her mum's crying, gives Mark a hug. I had a tear in my eye, mate.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not gonna
good.
lie.
Mm.
It was a really nice moment.
Um, I think like going through it as I suggest, Solveig Loveseth, I think that the top, top 6 place Really good considering she's bounced off Kona. I can only imagine how hectic her life's been the last few weeks. The interesting thing for me though is the gaps. Like I just want to emphasize this because it shows to me just how fucking impressive Lucy Charles-Barclay is. 3 minutes to second place, Taylor Knibb. 7 minutes to third place. 9 minutes to fourth place. 9 minutes to fifth place. 10 minutes to sixth place. Top 10, Ellie Sotas, 15 and a half minutes back. So it's a 15 and a half minute spread. And that's not to discredit those women. It's to me just to show how impressive Lucy was across all three disciplines. We were talking about her results now. She's got an ITU long distance world championship. She's got two 70.3 world championships. She's got an Ironman world championship. I could see her if she does end up going to Dubai, Qatar for the grand final, potentially getting the T100 world championship. She's just such an impressive athlete. She's an athlete who has had early in her career was a swim biker. The run was a weakness for her. Saw her got run down by Daniela Reef about 50 times in Hawaii. It's probably her strength now. I mean, that's a lie. All three, like every single one of her disciplines is a strength. Lucy has no weaknesses except for transition, which is terrible. Still terrible. Please, Reese Barclay, teach her how to dismount properly. It bothers me every time I see it. But mate, I can't. I just think she's the best female triathlete in the world at the moment, and she has been for a while. And
She's pretty fucking good at this triathlon business, isn't she?
it's
Yeah, she's
crazy.
one of the best triathletes in the world without question. And yeah, watching her execute a race like this, um, being able to mentally bounce back after what happened in Kona in such really relatively a short space of time after that event to then come here, to get the fastest swim and fastest run of the day, and not far off the fastest bike. She's only 55 seconds
Who had fastest?
behind
Nib?
Taylor Knibb.
Okay.
Yeah, 2:28:36 with
Yeah.
Lucy on a 2:29:41.
I
So,
um I also love Taylor Knibb, mate. I'm such a Taylor Knibb fan. I just love
yeah.
everything. I just love everything about how she's such a geek. She's such a dork. I love it.
Yeah,
There's something so endearing about and it's even something my wife was commenting on. She's like, "Look at Lucy's kit. Lucy's kit fits perfectly." Whereas you look at Taylor's and Taylor's is like a bit baggy, and I'm like, I think it's just that's like Taylor's not as super like doesn't wear the TT helmet like everyone else. She just kind of does things her
yeah.
own way a
That was
bit, and
interesting, wasn't it? She wore like an aero adjacent helmet.
same in Kona. I
Yeah.
just love how she goes about it, mate. And she's always so happy and so positive. And I was very happy to see her
Did you
finish
hear her
second.
comment
But
about the dogs?
maybe
Yeah.
tell me.
Something about dogs. If you had sort of talking
Oh
about
yeah,
losing
yeah,
losing the world championships and then winning ones. If you had four dogs and two died, you'd still be
it's
sad about the dead ones or something.
yeah. That's what I mean. Just like weirdly
I love it.
awkward,
Yeah.
but endearing. I also think we've seen, as we often do, the bar has been raised because of Taylor Knibb. Taylor Knibb came on, made this huge impact. She was so fucking strong on the swim bike that she was just winning races that way. She's going to have to work on a run now. Like legitimately, the game has lifted on the bike. The women have responded that she has to work on a run. And to me, yes, she hasn't nailed it this year. I think this showed me indications that it's there. Like she didn't run badly. But yeah, great. Anything else you want to say about the women's race? Any other little standout things that you want to notice or things of note?
No, no, just yeah, just hats off to Lucy, really. And yeah, watch this space with Lizzie Rayner. There's much more to come.
Yeah, well done, Lizzie. And yeah, it was very cool to follow again. And I guess yeah, you were giving us like me a bit of insight into what was going on with Lizzie, which was really appreciated as well. Um, I think she's lucky to have you, mate, in a corner. I think you're a good guy. And
Oof. I'm
there you
British,
go.
mate. I don't take compliments very well.
People want to get in touch
You are
about a
also
deal for
make
Lizzie Rayner?
instantly feel like I should say you're also a good
No,
guy.
it's all good. You don't need to say that, mate. Um, let's talk about the men's race, Jimbo, because fuck me. This was
Fucking hell.
something.
Fucking hell, mate. The energy on the Saturday was intense. The vibes around the course were intense. The crowds were amazing. The Sunday, there were more, I think there were more people. Um, not a huge amount in it, but it just felt more.
The women
It
would
was
have come out to
harder
watch
to
because
get
they've
around.
already raced, right? So
Yeah, exactly. So you've got all the women that have raced coming to watch. And because from our perspective, we saw I didn't watch the swim on the Sunday because I was so fucking tired from the travel the day before, getting there late, getting up early. and then staying out relatively late on the Saturday. I fancied a. I got up as the swim start happened, and I went for a run on my own just to start the day, to clear my head, and then I got back, had a shower, headed into town as they'd headed out on the bike. They were on the bike course, so I headed into town, met up with a couple of people, um, and had a similar kind of watching experience. Wasn't really paying attention to the race while it was out because I had a few meetings with various people in the expo. So I got those done and then was by the race course as the athletes came in to T2 and went about the run. Now, the people were paying attention to what was happening on the bike. So the intensity of the crowd was building because people knew it was going to be a close race because it started to, and it was going to be a close run race anyway, because people were coming in together. You talked about the gaps in the women's race. They weren't for the gaps between Lucy and, the top 10. They weren't forming in the men's race like that. The density of the field was something to behold. And watching that run race unfold, we went and sat on the same corner again with a couple of the patrons and watched them go by. And this time, towards the end of the race, instead of going into the media zone, I wanted to watch the sprint finish unfold from. So we went up to where the course was, and I found Lizzie and Mark, and I watched it with them, and Marco from Classified, and a few others. And we were basically on that final corner, that very final corner that they were fighting for to
Were
come
you on the
through.
inside or the outside? Were you on the inside of the
Outside,
corner? Yeah,
beach
okay.
side, beach side. So I could watch them go by, and then I could get up on my tiptoes and watch the sprint finish unfold. So whatever, however distance it was to the finish line, but I could see directly down the finish chute and see the sprint finish happening. And fucking hell, man, you could feel the intensity building as they were coming, because it was like we knew they were shoulder to shoulder. We all had our phones out at this point, watching this shoulder to shoulder race, or trying to watch the shoulder to shoulder race. Iron Man wasn't really helping with that. And then they came around this final corner, and it was like Jelle just about had the lead at that point. But you never, Kristian Blummenfelt's a hard man to beat. He's a hard man to beat, isn't he? Because that man goes deep. Now, I know Jelle says he thought he had the sprint, and Kristian said if he was going to win it, he probably should have gone a bit sooner. But they were both lactic to fuck at that point, I think, I'd imagine, and on the limit of what they could possibly do. Um, yeah, what a race. What a race to be on the ground and watch. I was so happy. I was so fucking happy.
Some things I've seen said that again, I talked about last week about people complaining about drafting, and yes, I know it's a blah 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 blah. And I certainly saw a lot of athletes that looked dangerously close. And I know other athletes. I think Seth Ryder came out and said that he was trying to follow the rules, and that's why he didn't get a chance to get the front. So clearly it was a factor. But I feel like watching them come in on the bike felt like a WTCS race. The transition, there were so many people, it was hectic. Like this felt very much WTCS like to me. I couldn't believe how close like the fact that nobody got away on the bike. I really expected to see like a Jonas and a Jamie and a oh, I'm having a what's his name? Rico Bogan like right away. They didn't. And then we saw them come and it just this battle on the run. And I honestly, when Yella passed and Kristian went and then proceeded to attack Kristian several times during that run, every time Kristian held on, I was convinced if they got within 2 kilometers of the finish line, Kristian was still with Yella. Kristian Brillenfelt wins this race.
Mm.
And obviously, I didn't get to see it on the actual broadcast, but afterwards, we've now seen it. You see on that, so they've run, other things that happened interesting on the run was it looked like there was a bit of disagreement between Jelle and Kristian because Kristian was quite happy just to sit behind Jelle Geens the whole time. And Jelle seemed to get the shits at one point and like basically slow down and make Kristian go to the front.
I've got a quote here that'll help
Tell
populate
me.
that. Yella said he said I was getting a bit annoyed with him, but every time I asked Kristian to go to the front, he would say he was waiting for Casper, although he was quite far behind. But even when he went to the front, it was so slow. At one point under the bridge, we were almost standing still, so I was like, I'll run my tempo and hope to hurt him enough. I thought he would accelerate at one point, but when we accelerated, it felt like he didn't have much left, and it wasn't so fast, so I aimed for the sprint and tried to time it perfectly.
Yeah, and
Fucking
and
did, didn't
honestly, I think that's what I think. If you look at this race, the way he bridged that gap because I mean, firstly, Jelle Geens, what a like how he won this race considering he crashed coming out of transition. He had to stop at the top of
And
the
it
hill to
wasn't just
fix his
any old
bike.
crap. He didn't just stumble, did he? He kind of
No,
slid into camera view.
then 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 his bike falls over in transition, so he has to fix it. Then he fucking rolls his ankle. Like,
And I was told he was stuck in one gear
yeah,
predominantly.
I don't know if that was the whole. Anyway, just
Yeah.
all this stuff happens. I felt like the way that he bridged up to that group of it was Jonas, it was Kristian, it was maybe Jamie Riddle at the start. I can't remember. And then he went, and Kristian was the only one who went with him. And the way that he continued to attack Kristian, I think what we just saw is that it did eventually take its toll on Kristian. And again, what I found good with the fact they put out that video after the fact was you see Jelle's attack. And you see Kristian yet again respond. And there's a moment, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a moment where Jelle's on the inside, Kristian on there, and he comes around. And I just wonder if Kristian had have just got in front of him, which it looked like he was trying to do. And you see they get a little bit shoulder bargy, whether things would have been different. But honestly, I don't think anybody who's beaten Jelle Geens in hindsight, it's easy to say. It's just because of everything that fucking happened. For him to still do that was so impressive. Like such a
Yeah.
impressive performance by Jelle Geens.
I've
He's
got a
so good.
I've got a quote from Kristian as well to follow that one. He said, "I was saving myself for the last 1.5 kilometers, and you get one chance at a tactic like that. The second option would have been going earlier, but I'll never know if that would have worked because Yellow was still strong. I'm obviously disappointed only to get a podium and not get a title. We trained to become world champions, not just medalists." I fucking love that.
I fucking love Kristian, man. I know you listen, Kristian, mate. It was like you made the race exciting. Like genuinely, this race would have been relatively boring, I think, if you remove Kristian Blummenfelt from this event. Suddenly the thing ain't as exciting. And I saw a comment in the group over the last couple of days, I can't remember where they said Kristian really has to actually reevaluate the way that he approaches these events now to win because we all knew he was going to sprint with the last, like it's Christian's move now is to get to the end and sprint with like 2K to go or up 1.5Ks, he said. The problem is that the bike now means that he's not by himself and he's having to work relatively hard because he's not first out of the water. So he was never at the front. He was sort of yo-yoing a little bit. Yeah, he's similar, I guess, to Taylor Knibb. He's just going to have to reevaluate how he approaches this because everybody is as strong, and you've got these guys now who are probably as strong a runners over 70.3, maybe even slightly stronger. Kristian does do very, very well at the iron distance. The Yellers and the Haydens and those guys who are coming through don't do the Ironmans. They've just got that little bit more. But Kristian just so impressive. Again, you talk about the season Cat Matthews has had. I think Christian's is as well. I think better because he didn't. He finished both World Championships, but yeah, it was yeah, Kristian. I really like Kristian. I consider Kristian a friend. Yeah, it was pretty up there. It was
Yeah.
it was bittersweet, I suppose, because I was so happy Yellow did it, but then I was also wished that Kristian
Yeah.
had done it.
Exactly. Both results. Either of them win. I'm happy. Kristian, I know better than yeah. I've never really met Yella, to be honest. But Kristian, I know, and I saw him at the after performance hydration after party on the Sunday, and he comes up and he gives me a bit of a hug and says, "How you doing?" And I was like, "Mate, what a year and what a race to be part of." And he was disappointed, and you could tell he was disappointed, and he wasn't happy. That was just the evening of that race. It was a few hours after it happened, so you can understand that. I'm sure when he puts some distance between himself and this weekend and looks back and sees what he was part of, and when he's an old man, telling these stories to his grandkids, he can say he was part of this finish, which was one of the greatest finishes of 70.3 World Championships I've ever seen, his grandkids will have ever seen, and then he will have his medal cabinet behind him to buttress that with all the other World Championships and titles he's won, because there's much more to come in that man's career. Um, yeah, what a race. And fuck me, man. Honestly, I was so stoked watching that finish. I don't think I've ever been quite as stoked. Apart from, I will say, when we were in Singapore watching the end of that Super League race, where Cassandra Beaugrand and
Hades
Katie
Zafiris.
Zafiris were sprinting down the finish line.
Yeah, that
It
was
was a
good.
very similar level of excitement to that.
Before I go through the top 10, the other thing I want to say is I feel like this shows to me I think we both are very much of the opinion that the short course athletes stepping up are always going to just they're the best athletes in the world. And I feel like this result sort of shows because you look at the top four are all short course athletes. The top 10, there's a number of short course athletes in there. Um, Jelle Geens, so Rico Bergen, I think is the first non-short course athlete, 3.5 minutes back. Magnus Ditlev, an athlete that, to be honest, by Magnus's standards, has not had a great year this year. 4 minutes back. You look at these two; they're both running 111s. Everyone else is the top guys are running 107s, 108s. So they're just not able to. They just don't have the same top end. Again, Ironman's a different ball game, but these short course guys are just so good. So first place, Jelle Geens. Second place, Kristian Blummenfelt. Third place, Casper Stornes, bouncing back after Nice. Brilliant. Fourth place, Jonas Schomburg. Fifth place, Rico Bergen. Sixth place, Magnus Ditlev. Seventh place, Jamie Riddle. Jamie, I think, exceptional race from Jamie. He said he had some hamstring problems. I didn't expect him to, he ran a 113. So not, but still for Jamie, I think it's great. He's going to get stronger and stronger. Eighth place, Simon Westerman. Ninth place, Vincent Louis. Tenth place, Gregor Payet. So we've got one, two, three, four, five,
10th
six.
place was Miguel Hidalgo, no?
Nope, nope. Miguel Hidalgo was 12th place.
Oh,
Um,
then the list I'm looking at has got that the wrong way around.
I'm on the Ironman one, so unless something has changed, I don't know. That's weird. But there's seven short course guys on the top 10, basically, is what I was
Okay.
the point I was going to make.
And we talked about the big gaps between Lucy and the top 10. What was it? 15 and a half minutes.
Yep.
It's 22 minutes, mate, between Yellow Gaines in first place and 50th place in the men's.
Yeah. So
This is a
crazy.
dense. I went off. We watched the end of the men's race. Then me and Lizzie had an appointment with Classified to go and have a meeting with them. And I thought, oh, we got time to nip down the beach, have a chat with Marco, and then come back again. And I'll be at the finish line for Andy because I had a chat with Andy earlier in the day, and he'd said, yeah, I'd said I'd been at the finish line for Lizzie, and I said I had a tear in my eye. And if he said if you're not standing behind the finish line crying your eyes out when I finish, mate, then I'm gonna fire you. And so I was like, I got to be, got to get back there.
Bottle of water running down your
Yeah,
face.
exactly. Poking myself in the eyes. Um, he, like the density of finish was incredible. It was like, oh, well, then I finished, and then I wandered down the beach, came back, and it was like, boom, 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 boom. I could hear them getting called over the speaker, and I didn't make it back in time to see Andy at the finish. I had to wait for him outside the tent because I didn't want to miss him. But the speed at which people were finishing, and also big shout out to Emil Holm,
Yes, of course.
who
Legend.
finished 30-ish, 33rd, I think. But also
33rd. Yep.
did a roly-poly across the finish line, which I saw. I was there for that, and I thought that was cool.
Mate, I thought this was great. I honestly really, really enjoyed this race. Sets things up really interestingly for next year. I wish this was the end of the season. I wish we were done for this year. I feel like
So do
we're
I. To a point, yeah.
the only thing I want to talk about, and we're going to now, we're nearly done for time, so I just want to touch on this. The only question, and I preempted you, said I was going to bring this up this week, and we'll use this to transition to T100 because I saw like a lot of questions of what would have Hayden Wilde done if he was in this race. Would Hayden Wilde have won this race, similar to Kate Woff in the women's race? I don't think either of them would have won, to be honest. But I get the feeling, looking at like Hayden Wilde could have qualified for this race and could have competed. Do you feel like this is a choice? Is it a choice of I'm just going to bank checks or like again, we love Hayden. Hayden is an incredible athlete. Hayden never, I'm going to be very careful. I'm not trying to be super critical here, but when it's a really big stacked field, Hayden doesn't dominate the way he's dominated T100 this year. We saw last year in Topol, Yellow beat him at the finish. We've seen in other races where it's a fully stacked field. He doesn't dominate the way he has. Do you think that he is literally just cashing checks this year? Do you think it was just with the injury and everything, he couldn't make it work? Why don't you think we saw Hayden race 70.3 worlds?
Yeah, I mean, I would to second guess him. I don't want to second guess him, but I would assume it's because he had that big heavy injury. He's racing really well on the T100. It pays well. He wants to guarantee himself that top spot in the T100, and he's all his eggs are in that basket. Now, the question as to whether he would have been competitive here, I don't think we'd have seen quite as much of a domination as we're seeing at the T100 from Hayden if he'd raced this race. It would have been, but he would have been in the mix. He would have been one of those athletes who would have been in the mix. I think the level of domination we're seeing at T100 is quite deceiving and would have led a lot of people, I think, if Hayden had suddenly said he's racing this race, to be like, oh, fucking hell, Hayden's got this then, because a lot of those people would have just seen what he's been doing in the T100 and assumed it would translate across to this. I don't think so. I
Mm,
think we would have seen him an athlete. He would have been in the mix for a top five, and if everything had come together for him, then possibly a win. But he would have been as in the mix as some of the other athletes. I would probably have still said I would have. I don't think I'd have altered my three Norwegians on the podium pick
I would have probably had him on the
personally.
podium. Yeah, I think I could have seen him come in third. I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have beaten Jelle or Kristian. But Dubai 200 this weekend. Look, we are wrapping this up. We've done so well for time. This feels very anticlimactic compared to 70.3 odds, if I'm honest. I don't have heaps. I'm just going to go through the start list. Again, I say this all the time. Tripole athlete, go to them. They do such a good job. Men's start list: Hayden Wilde, Mika Newt, Matisse Magerier, Marten Ben Riel, Gregory Barnaby, Morgan Pearson, Jason West, Vincent Louis, Peter Heinrich, Sam Dickinson, Wilhelm Hirsch, Jonas Schomburg, Jet Birtwistle, Guillaume Montiel Moreno, Will Draper, Mark Dubrick, Michelle Bortolemedi, Mike Phillips, Felipe Azevedo. Not racing. Ready for this? Frederick Funk, Sam Long, Jelle Geens, Nicholas Manrico, Bergen, Minna Koolhaas, Justus Nischlag, Yuri Kulin, Antonio Benito Lopez, Carl Smith, Leo Berger. Women's race. Kate Woff, Julie Derron, Jess Lemont, Taylor Spivey, Holly Lawrence, Lisa Peterier, Hannah Devet, Sarah Pressala, Georgia Taylor Brown, Lizzie Rayner, Kaida Kivjova, Didi Diedrichs, Rebecca Anderbury, Lena Basig, Megan McDonald, Jenny Gendry Schrick, Lisa Maria Dorno, and Lottie Lucas. Just for the record, that's one, two, three, five contracted women racing this race, by the way. Not racing. Emma Pallant Brown, Imogen Simmons, Flora Duffy, Ashley Gento, Elsa Vissel, Lucy Byram, Grace Steck, Ellie Salthouse, Marta Sanchez, Hannah Berry, Taylor Nim, Laura Madsen, Lucy Charles-Barclay, Paula Finlay, India Lee, Carolyn Pole. Diabolical. I've heard that they're struggling to fill the fields. They've got 19 men, 18 women. They're not even going to have 20 in both races. Who's your top five picks for this race, James?
No. Um, yeah, it is. Look, it's it'll be a good race. The athletes we've got some good athletes on these start lists. We really have. It'll be good, solid racing. The not racing list is
Crazy.
extensive, and that is a problem born of having this race a week after the 70.3 World Championships, in my opinion. Um, So yeah, they're just gonna have to cope with that. But that doesn't detract from what the athletes that are going to race it are going to be doing, because it's going to be some fire racing, and yeah, I think it'll be exciting to see how it unfolds.
I'm excited to see how Martin Ben Real goes. That's
Yeah,
the
so am
that's
I.
that's the thing for me.
Yeah, I want to see Martin van Riel put Hayden under some pressure. We called him the chosen one to begin with, and I still like to think he has that mantle. I'd like to see him prove that he can still have that title this weekend by taking the fight to Hayden and not letting
But
him just skip away from the front.
better
Um,
swimmer, as strong a cyclist, I think, and the run probably the closest, one of the closest in this field that can battle him on the run. Um, I mean, I see Hayden Wild. Yeah, I think it's a two-horse race really for me. Morgan Pearson, I'm curious to see what he does because Morgan, I just know how good he is, and I just feel like we yet to really see him put it together. Women's race, I think it's probably going to be Kate Wolf or Julie Derron, Georgia Taylor Brown maybe. She's
I'd
sort
like
of.
I want to see Jess Learmonth win it.
I'd love to see. I just
Fuck, I
always want
really
to
want
see
to see
Jess
it.
Limont win it, mate. But again,
Yeah, and I
you
want
know,
to see Lizzie obviously back up her 70.3 worlds by
how's she
bouncing
feeling?
over to Dubai.
How's Lizzie feeling? Give
Um,
me some tips because I'm thinking about her for my picks.
how's she feeling? Yeah, she's feeling good. Obviously fatigued, slightly fatigued from the
Oh,
70.3
thanks.
worlds, and
Perfect.
then
Thanks, man.
she traveled home for 24 hours and then
Oh,
traveled
wow.
straight out to Dubai. So, that in itself will bring a little bit of but she's feeling better than she expected, she said, and she's looking forward to the weekend. So, So yeah, of course, I'll give you a little bit of insight. Of course, she's in my five.
Yeah, she's a good value buy, mate. She
Yeah,
actually is.
absolutely.
Like I saw her price, I'm like, yeah, that's like yeah, good value. Just quickly, and again, not going to go into too much because we're so over time this week. Ironman Arizona happening this weekend as well. I've heard that you've got Rasmus who is racing. Obviously, I've heard that Sam Long's not guaranteed to race now because his baby is due at any moment. So Sam Long may in fact not race. Joe Skipper's there. Trevor Foley is there. So there's a few people. Uh,
Yeah, Rasmus obviously bouncing off his win in Chattanooga, is looking to back that up by taking this one. But I'm keen to see how Joe goes.
yeah, same here. Joe's in good shape. Needs a good performance after the year that he's had again. Very long start. There's another one to watch, I think, is Zach Cooper from the UK. Very, very strong bike runner. Terrible, terrible swimmer. But we like you, Zach. Just get in the pool. Go back to Spot Anderson, mate. He'll sort you out in the women's race. It's not Steph Clutterbuck is probably the one that I'm fascinated to see. Yeah, plenty still to come. We press on. The year is not over. I will not be here next week. You are going to be joined by some surprise guests to fill the Tim Ford
Right,
vor.
yes.
Many say elevate.
Major.
Many say elevate the podcast.
Yeah.
Jimbo, mate, if people want to find out more about Talking Triathlon, where do they need to go?
I'm not sure right now. Hang on.
If you want to find out more about Talking Triathlon, head
If you
to
want to, if you want to support the show, jump on at patreon.com/talking triathlon. If you want to follow Tim, is at T14 on Instagram. I'm at bale.james85 on Instagram. We are at Talking Triathlon on Instagram. And if you join the Patreon group, you get access to the monthly bonus episode, the social group, and we'll put you in the WhatsApp group. If you want to be in it, you can use the joining link to get in there and we will approve your entry to it. It elevates all events that I watch or attend, to be honest. It was very useful while I was in the 70.3 Worlds to get key information from people who were steadfast watching the broadcast while I was on the ground, which was really handy. But if you're not a member of the Patreon group and you want to communicate or leave a comment, then the best place to do that is on the YouTube channel because we do like the comments we get on there.
I agree. It's always good chats. Like I said, we've been discussing the broadcast and all sorts of things and getting some really interesting perspectives. And also Patreon's where you go to get the Christmas episodes this year, which the last episode of the year will come out on the 20th of December. So a few more, and then we will be back late January. So again, patreon.com/talking triathlon. Guys, let us know your thoughts about the broadcast this week. Again, we like to keep things as civil as possible on the YouTube channel. We appreciate the constructive, genuine conversations. It's what I think we need more of in this sport. So thank you very much for listening, Jimbo. A long one this week. Thank you so much, mate. Thanks for providing all the on the ground context. And yeah, just one last thing to finish. Who's your top five? Nah, talk to you later, mate. Thank you very much.
Here we are.